14 children have died in Yemen, made possible only by bombs and weapons manufactured in both the United States and Canada. Some of the blasts are so bad that the scarring has left the children unable to see for the rest of their lives. This episode of the Serfs was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Use promo code Yemenis Bombs. Get 25% off your next expansion pack. Wait, buddy. Did y'all know? Did y'all know the day of reckoning is upon us? That it's here? Black Pigeon Speaks has told us the truth from on high. The revolution is here, comrades. That's right.
As the political theater ramps up to November, debates being the central ring of this ongoing circus, we have a media obsessed with flies rather than truth, an opposition that is still attempting to invalidate the 2016 vote, with Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi within a month out, trying to unseat the president under the 25th Amendment. Pundits, talking heads, and gatekeepers talking about the upcoming confirmation battle of...
Okay. Hey, I've ripped into Black Pigeon Speaks and a lot of these ghouls for, like, you know, just having shit production value. But this is the extra mile. You actually went the length of putting the NPC meme on good old CNN. So this is good.
Trump's nominee to the Supreme Court, COVID, and of course, Russia. What they're not talking about, which I think might not only tip the election, but also create...
No, this would not be work. Come on, Anderson Cooper is just ridiculously... How are you still sexy? What is he, pushing like 60 or something? And he still looks like that? Like, what the fuck?
Societal unrest is not only the growing national debt, but the massive growing underclass that is the direct result of the policies enacted by governments in the United States to lock down our society. And what...
Okay, he was so close. I thought he was going to say undermined by the government. I was like, yeah, to a certain extent, that's true. Like, I don't know if you know about the history of this, but yeah, like, the neoliberal policies of Reagan have stifled wage growth in the United States compared to everything else is stagnated for a very, very long time. And that, yes, is the policies of a neoliberal government, not to mention abolishing unions. Like, fuck the unions. We're getting rid of all unions. Yeah, you'll never remember what unions were like in America. Yeah, they were once powerful. Now enjoy 12%. 12% and declining. That's the future, you see. But no, it's about the lockdowns. It's the lockdowns that are the problem.
What many are calling the Great Reset. This will be the issue, the great issue, and the social turmoil of the growing underclass that will come to dominate our political landscape for the foreseeable future. And it doesn't matter who wins the White House. But there are solutions to this impending social explosion that is in the mail, and I will explain why in the next few minutes.
Oh shit. Production values, poggies.
A big thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video, and it's a pretty cool game with a dark-esque fantasy theme. What I like about it is you can pick it up and play it for a couple of minutes or a half an hour. It's really, really easy to get started. Logging in every day is...
Shameless raid! How the fuck? Is no one above the fray? Hey, by the way, I used to get an inordinate amount of offers in my emails until I realized I guess I ignored them, and I stopped getting a lot of these like shitty offers, but I still get Raid Shadow Legends. The recent one was for $650 US. All I have to do is play it for 2 hours on stream. 2 hours. Can you imagine 2 hours of me trying to play this fucking garbage clickbait nonsense? Part of me, though, really wants to do it and accept the money and just keep going back and forth between the most abysmal, sad news of the day, like just wretched stuff, like 14 children have died in Yemen, made possible only by bombs and weapons manufactured in both the United States and Canada. Some of the blasts are so bad that the scarring has left the children unable to see for the rest of their lives. This episode of the Serfs was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Use promo code Yemenis bombs. Get 25% off your next expansion pack.
Your account. Progress missions help you adapt and make your way
Holy
through
shit,
the game
this is so
and
long.
people. And the competition for work as the result of the COVID lockdowns. The situation is much the same in the United States, as another round of stimulus is currently on hold until after the election. And this has prompted an explosion of anger, bile, and rage on social media. The very simple reason is that a very substantial proportion of the American people are quickly running out of cash. According to a weekly survey on America,
There's like, you don't fucking need to go to Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge, are you serious? Zero Hedge is a conspiracy theory website run by the editor-in-chief, also known as Tyler Durden. Where do you recognize that journalistic integrity from? Why, it's from Fight Club. Yes, that's right, the same Tyler Durden.
with just 4 weeks until election day,
And like,
nearly
the reason I say you don't need to go to conspiracy websites is that shit is true. Like, you can talk about how there's a disenfranchisement of the people. You can talk about how everyone's experiencing alienation as a result of, yes, huge amount of systemic collapse. People are not being looked after. Wages are stagnating. The cost of living is going up. The cost of healthcare is skyrocketing. The cost of home ownership is so out of control that the average American can't afford it. The average Canadian can't afford it. These are all very real problems. You can tap into that, especially if you want to do populism. I mean, fuck, just watch Tucker Carlson's show for a day. You'd understand it. You don't need to go to fucking Zero Hedge.
In a separate survey, about 56% of Credit Karma respondents.
Who do you want to bet that he blames for this? Who do you want to bet? I'm going to take a choice of all your favorites. All right. We'll say first the globalists. We'll say that. Second, the international bankers. We'll say that one. How about the third option? The less nuanced, the Jews. We'll see which one of those. We'll see which one of those he picks, all right?
Leading up to the election, we have division. In the streets, anarchy, looting, rioting, arson. And in response, in a survey by Politico, a roughly equal number of Republicans, 33%, and Democrats, 34%, believe that violence will be justified if their side loses the impending presidential election, up from just 8% on both sides who believed this same thing just 3 years ago. Nearly 2/3 of Americans believe the U.S. is on course for a civil war.
Blah, blah, blah.
The Speaker of the House,
who's responsible?
put simply,
what is this a raised fist? But it's the American. But it's the American logo. Is this what I'm seeing? Am I seeing this? We are not free until the oligarchs have all the money. None of us are free until all that trickles up. All right, that's when we're all free, comrades. Come on, cast up your chains, comrades. All of you, throw up your chains.
America, it would seem, has been successfully deconstructed.
Oh shit! No, there it is. Never mind. It's the communist America, the hellscape. That's right. Yes. Brother Marx, Engels, and Biden are here.
It is now very much ripe for a liberal socialist revolution, or a communist one wearing a different...
A liberal socialist revolution. Did you just hear those words come out of his mouth, into your ears, into your brains? A liberal socialist revolution. Here we are. What Hegel spoke of.
And many of those, 40 and younger, have been prime targets for ideological subversion as they have come into adulthood into an economy that is stacked against them. One where most could never even hope for stability, let alone something like home ownership, and thus their justified resentment against the system. And unless radical solutions, including a complete opening of the country, making it free from lockdown, I foresee a social landscape in such turmoil that millions will be begging for any kind of solutions and will give up whatever freedoms necessary for those solutions.
So again, populism tapping into similar themes you may already know, but here's where he's going with this, all right? Instead of these kind of vacuums create fascism, which is historically what does happen and what we're seeing the rise of right now, in the United States, in Brazil, in India, to say the very least, or at least not even a rise of it in some cases. We're seeing proto-fascism in its early stages. But it's not that. It's not that. This vacuum is going to be filled up with liberal, post-neo-Marxist cucks who are super gay. All those things are about to happen.
Currently, more than 7,000 top scientists and doctors have signed a declaration calling for politicians to reconsider their entire approach to COVID and to adopt a herd immunity strategy. Several research papers suggest more people have died and will die under more lockdowns than will have from coronavirus. While the country was already on a trajectory of division, this division and
we're seeing it. We're seeing the start. We're seeing, I mean, the thesis is coming full circle now. Oh, look at this. The conclusion is almost upon us, friends.
the lockdowns and the resulting economic devastation that they have enacted has been an accelerant. Perhaps new rounds of stimulus can be based on things such as community service or through spending rather than one sitting at home watching Netflix. And this could be used as a bridge until a real economic recovery
Is Black Pigeon Speaks in mutual aid? Poggies!
can begin. Currently, there are rumors and much speculation in Japan, and I must stress speculation and rumors as to why
Oh shit, here we go. Turn it up to 11, son.
the country was not hit so hard by COVID-19, with many believing that the country, which has been sealed off from the rest of the world since March, has already achieved at least partial herd immunity.
Oh, I think we're flirting with that no nationalism. I think we're floating floating the idea around. Yes, yes, and the circle is complete. Yes, yes, the one true homogeneous society, pure racial purity, and Japanese waifus for every white man.
Whether or not that's true, I do not know. But socially, the proof is in the pudding. There was
yes.
only one stimulus check of 100,000 yen, which is about $950. That's it. Absolutely nothing else. But as of October 2020, theaters and sports stadiums and amusement parks like Disneyland are now open without any restrictions on numbers.
Why don't they ever talk about Vietnam? Why don't any of them talk about Vietnam? Why is it always just like, do they even know? Like I hearken to want to send him something. Mr. Black Pigeon Speaks. I'd like to introduce you to Vietnam. Yes. I mean, you don't get your anime waifus, but there's other things to love.
And the same goes for restaurants and pubs. The Japanese have developed a motto, or adopted a motto, and that motto is called Living with COVID. And here is where America perhaps could learn something. There is currently a campaign to restart the economy by restarting such industries as tourism. And what this means is you can see the government picking up half the cost of your trip, 50% of the.
So let's have a little fun with knowledge. Why haven't more people in Japan died from COVID-19? Is it a macabre question that has spawned dozens of theories, from Japanese manners to claims that the Japanese have superior immunity? Ooh, this sounds familiar. Japan does not have the lowest death rate for COVID-19 in the region. South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Vietnam all boast lower mortality. Oh. Oh. Huh. Well, snap.
And if you're smart, you'd buy that trip in a package. And that package would include not only your transportation, but also your sightseeing, hotels, and meals. And again, the government will pick up 50% of the cost of that package. Needless to say, all of the hotels, including high-end hotels across the city and hot springs across the country, are fully booked all the way into March 2021 when the program expires. There's also a campaign trying to get the hospitality and restaurant industry back on its feet, and this one is called Go to Eat, and it's getting people back into the pubs or izakaya and restaurants, and it sees people getting as much as 25% of their money back when dining out, and this includes lunch or dinner. It doesn't matter which. But put simply, while Japan has, like every other country, been badly damaged by...
Yo, you want to solve coronavirus? Dine out, son. Why aren't you using the app economy? That's been the solution all along. Yeah, that and ethno-states. It's those two things. Ethno-states and dine and dash. You got it.
The COVID-19 and its lockdowns. It is providing a model and solutions, at least to the economic problems that plague much of the rest of the world, including the United States, and how to restart key industries that have been badly damaged by these lockdowns. While the social and cultural divisions that divide the United States have, without any surprise, absolutely zero surprise, come to the forefront in times of economic distress, at least recognizing the damage of lockdown and moving swiftly to remedy it should be the number one concern going into the next election.
It's so wild. Just to have taken everything and then filtered it through that and then come out on the other end with, well, yes, there is a whole bunch of systemic inequity and problems in the United States. 1 in 5 Americans are on the verge of bankruptcy. A whole bunch of them, I believe 50 million of them, are unemployed, jobless. How many countless millions are on the verge of losing their homes once the rent freeze, the rent strike is over at the end of December? All that means is all the people who for the last 4 months were unable to pay rent and might get evicted suddenly are going to have to pay 4 months of rent and then get evicted. They'll still be required to pay that money as well after they're evicted. So all these huge problems, just a disaster. The government should do what the government is being paid to do by the people, which is to help the citizens in this trying time. How do you pay for that? How are we going to pay for that? You tax the rich. You tax the rich into the fucking sun. Because guess what? Since COVID started, half of their wealth has doubled. It's all of a sudden they've made more money and everyone else is suffering on the brink of collapse. But instead, the problem is the lockdowns. That's the conclusion of all of this. That's the whole point of this entire thing. It's the lockdowns, you see.
So in sum, lockdowns are destroying not only the individual, but society itself. Opening the country should be the single issue that anyone that is concerned not only...
By the way, Black Pigeon Speaks. Little news report for you. Japan locked down. Yeah. They did it. Your perfect waifu ethno-state. They did the thing that you're complaining about.
Obviously, the day of reckoning is indeed upon us. But how...
So, by the way, when you go to the polls, vote for the man who did what you're in right now. So vote for that guy. Because the day of reckoning is upon us. So make sure you vote for Trump to keep the reckoning alive and well, and also open the country up and put kids back in schools. Whew! Wow, that was some brain melt right there. That was some fire and fury, to say the very least. I don't know if I can go right to a PragerU right after that. I might need a wee palate cleanse, you know, just a small one.
Democracy in Your Hands is an app that will help citizens organize to take power away from the elected politicians and distribute it horizontally among all citizens, because democracy means government by the people, not government by the politicians elected by some of the people. Democracy in Your Hands empowers citizens to create a participatory budget. Participatory budgeting is the process through which citizens decide where the government should spend or invest their money. The app also empowers citizens to create a participatory fiscal policy. This means that the citizens will not only decide where the government will spend and invest, but who, what, and how much to tax. The citizens themselves will decide the taxes because that is real democracy, power in the hands of the people. Let's take away the power of the politicians, and let's make real democracy available and easy for all.
Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our God, I'm Rad. We pray at your altar of greatness. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, Jimothy K. Meeblebeeps Jr., Ryan Lubin, Trevor R., Jeffrey Lamb, Poppy Nelson, Stephen, Hans Josephine, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our Knights of the Round Table, J. Fraser Cartwright, Thomas Brereton, Ali Menthol, Jimmy Bignuts, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringoito, Goofus Lankius, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Joppy, Josh Mickelson, Dr. Zayas, Dylan Byth, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We salute you.